Good morning, good morning, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us for another session of Let's Get Cooking. Hello to my lovely production manager, assistant, all around extraordinaire, Naya. Hey, Naya. And hello to all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, as promised, really trying to keep on brand and theme so we can learn how to, like, what are we going to do with the rest of the things that we bought all the ingredients for, but maybe we didn't make all of the stuff? Well, we're rolling this over and showing you how to go from spring rolls, a fresh spring roll, to a pan fried rice paper dumpling with just about the same materials, maybe give or take a few, okay? So this is like, for me, like really teaching versatility with some of the ingredients that we may have. So if you're like, all right, well, I did the spring rolls for a couple of days. Now I want to try something new. And quite frankly, I love a good fried anything. This is a good healthy option to having a fried vegetarian meal that where you get like that satisfaction of something fried, but it's really healthy for you. So Naya is going to go over your ingredients.
Hello, everyone, and welcome and thank you for joining. Today, we will be using lovely ingredients. You will need about 10 to 12 rice paper wraps, 1 cup of green cabbage, a half a cup of carrots, a half a cup of mushrooms, 2 green onions, 2 cloves of garlic, 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. You can also add some additional tofu crumbles or glass noodles, and you'll need about 1 to 2 tablespoons of avocado or olive oil.
All right. So those are some of the things that I actually didn't get out. And one thing that I actually thought that I had in my fridge, because I'm trying to get better about like, okay, using up all the stuff that I have in my refrigerator. So I thought I had green onions and I didn't. So I'll just be using a yellow onion. But green onions, if you have green onions, that is what the recipe is requiring of us. So go ahead and use your green onions. I'm not the biggest fan of tofu, so I'm going to use my noodles, and this is actually the same noodles that I use for the spring rolls. And you also, I've made dumplings like without noodles. As a matter of fact, like once we determined that we're going to make dumplings last week, I used that purple cabbage and all the ingredients that I had. I had dumplings already, so and they were really good. All right, so I'm going to use my noodles. One of the things that I am going to do, since I'm going to be using noodles and I'm just going to soak them, I'm going to go ahead and get some water, put on the stove to boil. But first, we'll start prepping our cabbage. Does anybody have any questions about the ingredients? And also know, like a dumpling could be a complete refrigerator dump. Like it could be like whatever is in the fridge type of dumpling, okay? So maybe you didn't get the green cabbage, but if you still have leftover purple cabbage, use it. All right. If you don't have green onions, don't worry about it. If you have a red onion, chop it up, use it. If you don't have mushrooms and you have tofu, swap it out. I have oyster mushrooms, and I actually bought these oyster mushrooms because the kids and I popped up on a 99 Ranch, which shout out to 99 Ranch. I love that store so much. And I decided that I wanted to make Tom Kha. And so I made Tom Kha and I had oyster mushrooms in it. So I'm just using my leftover mushrooms. So whatever you look and see what you have in your fridge if you don't have all the ingredients, and then start to improvise. Okay. And especially if you have some leftover dumplings, you could just use whatever because it's all going to get minced up. So use whatever vegetable you have. It's totally fine. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our cabbage. I'm going to place my cabbage here. And the recipe calls for 1 cup of cabbage. And so cabbage is pretty big. So we're going to go ahead and cut that into quarters. Okay. While you guys are grabbing your cabbage, I'm going to grab my tea kettle pot. I'm not going to boil a pot of water. I'm going to use my tea kettle and I'm going to get some water put on. And this water I'm going to use to soak my noodles. And I'm also going to use some of the water once it cools down to soften up my rice paper wrap. Okay, so now I'm gonna peel this top layer off of the cabbage because it's typically pretty yucky. It's the part that's like everybody's been touching, it's been in the dirt. So we're just gonna dispose of that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and cut my cabbage in half. And I'm gonna cut that half into a quarter. And this is why, when we make things like this, it's really good to like have other recipes that you could use because you're gonna have a lot of leftover vegetable, okay? So I'll just place this up here. And I'm just going to start shredding down. So I'm gonna cut the little hard part off on that side.
And if you could you move your chopping board where the bowl is?
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, no problem. I'll swap. Yeah, because I'm looking at myself from the front view. Better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now I'm just going to get really close and I'm just going to shred my cabbage into thin slices.
And do know that the amount of cabbage you prepare is just based on the portions that you're making for either you or family or friends. So you do not have to cut up the whole cabbage. You can do a quarter of a cabbage, and that will be perfect for your recipe. And
Yeah.
cabbage is
So
the crunchy green superhero of the vegetable world. It's loaded with vitamin C to help support glowing skin and a strong immunity system. Its natural plant compounds help your body with detox support, basically giving your internal systems a little spring cleaning. The fiber in cabbage keeps your gut bacteria happy, and a happy gut can mean better digestion, energy, and even a better mood. And fun fact, cabbage belongs to the cruciferous vegetable family, the same powerhouse group as broccoli and kale.
yeah. And the interesting thing about cruciferous vegetables is that if you let them sit like for a little while, they kind of start to smell like a little funky. Something about those cruciferous vegetables. All right. So I have got my cabbage nice and chopped or shredded, I'll say. So I'm just going to add that into my bowl. And is anybody out there, like, do you have all the ingredients or are you improvising and um, maybe adding something that wasn't in the recipe? I would love to know. I love to hear it when you guys get creative. All right, so we have our cabbage prepared. Now we're going to go for our carrots. So I don't have a box shredder, so I'm just going to use my good old knife and I'm going to cut them up. So I cut them up into little rounds. And I just kind of go in and I break them down a bit. So you can also use your shredder, that works, if you have a box shredder or whatever you have. I always like to like steal a little piece of carrot when I'm chopping
Let me
carrot.
there it's grated or julienne.
Yeah, you can grate it, julienne, chop it. The recipe says grate it.
Yeah, because we
I
are
had a
doing this
grater.
for our rice papers. We want to make sure it's easy to be folded.
Right. So I break it down pretty small.
All right, so everybody keep that in mind. especially from last week. Our rice papers are thin, so we will make sure that we're making it easier for our rice paper not to break.
Right. And so in the recipe, does it tell you to double up the rice paper?
Um, no.
Hmm. Okay. My suggestion, how I make it, is it can make it like a little chewy, but if you double wrap the rice paper because we have to wet them, sometimes they will break. So you can try out one and see how that works for you. And if it works, then you can just do one rice paper. Other than that, I would say do two. And I'll show you. I'll do both methods. All right. So now with my carrots, I'm just gonna come. I'm coming in and I'm chopping it up really fine, as small as I can, mincing it down because I don't have a grater. And sometimes I kind of look at things like, we didn't always have graders, right? You had to do what you had to do. So this is where I'm using my hand eye coordination. You make sure I have good dexterity using those arm muscles. And I'm just going in and I'm giving it a good chop. Okay, so you see how much I'm breaking this down?
Yeah, so for anyone who does not have a grater or a peeler, you can do this method. But for the instructions, we are shredding our cabbage, our carrots are grated or julienned, our mushrooms are finely chopped, our green onions are cut, or I should say thinly sliced. Garlic is this it says smash clove with a knife and finely mince. Ginger, you are grating or mincing very finely as well.
Uh-huh. And would you like to give us the fun fact for our carrots?
Yes. Carrots are basically sunshine in vegetable form. Thanks to all the beta carotene, your body turns it into vitamin A to support eye health and immune function. Their bright orange color signals antioxidants that help protect your body from everyday stress. Carrots also add a natural sweetness and crunch while supporting healthy skin and heart wellness. Fun fact, eating colorful vegetables is like feeding your body a rainbow of protection.
All right, so you see, now once I saute everything, the carrots are going to soften, so this
Mhm.
is totally fine. Okay? So I have my carrots broken down. Add my carrots over into my pile of things. So if you have garlic, we're going to do our garlic and our ginger next. So for the garlic, it says we're mincing our garlic.
Yeah, we are finally mincing.
And for the ginger, we're grating the garlic.
You can grate or finely mince.
Okay.
Alright, let me say the facts while you're breaking that up. Garlic has been
Yeah.
celebrated for centuries as one of nature's most powerful flavor boosters and wellness foods. It contains compounds that may help support immunity, heart health, and circulation. Garlic's bold flavor means that you can create delicious meals with less need for heavy sauces or excess salt. And a fun fact about garlic is when garlic is chopped or crushed, it activates this beneficial compound called Allison that gives it its signature smell and wellness benefits. And do know that the smaller that you do crush garlic, the more of its flavor is released.
Yeah. So I like to finely mince garlic, sometimes even grate it down because you're going to get all of the good flavor. I'm sure the recipe would say 1 to 2 garlic cloves.
Yes,
Yeah. Never enough for
it says
me.
two.
Oh, it says 2. I'll probably do 4. I normally try to leave the recipe, so just so you guys know, for those of you all who have been with me for the past 6 years now because we just made our 6 year anniversary. Um, you know that we have a recipe. I try really hard to stick to it, but I am very much a kitchen, like in the kitchen, I'm an eyeballer. You guys understand what you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not traditionally um been like a measurer. I just kind of like season and taste. I add a lot of garlic. If the recipe says two, I'm probably going to do 4 to 5, depending on what it is. Sometimes it is a little bit too much garlic, but I love garlic. I think garlic gives amazing flavor. And it's something like dumplings, like once you're sauteing your cabbage and your carrots and everything, like the garlic is just going to highlight and accentuate all of the amazing flavors inside of your dumplings. So if you want to add more garlic, absolutely add more garlic, okay? And forgive me for always deviating from the recipe. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mince my mini cloves of garlic that are going in here. And we're just going to break it down. Of course, once you crack that garlic open, it is releasing the allicin. So we're going to break it down, and then we're going to run our butcher knife across it to really release more of the flavors of the garlic. How's everybody doing in the kitchen? You guys all right? Can I get a thumbs up? Now, can you change my view so I can
Yeah,
see?
we have
Thank
some
you.
thumbs up. I'll put on gallery view so we can see.
And we will be having our farmers market next week. And whatever the recipe is next week, we will be giving ingredients for that recipe.
Let me open that up now.
So go ahead and sign up. We'll have about 40 spots available for recipe ingredients. Alrighty. I still see me. I might have to change it from my side. Alright, so I just like to mash it down a little bit, get the flavors out. Alrighty, so I have my garlic nice and minced, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that to see how finely I minced that garlic. Let me go over this way. Okay. And I see some beautiful, familiar faces. Hey, Darlene. Hey, Brenda. Hey, Valerie. See, I'm gonna see if I can go around and change my view from this side.
All right, so that is now opened
I
for
can't.
on Sunday. You guys are able to register for ingredients. Hey, Gail.
Alrighty. So now if you have green onions, you can go ahead and chop up your green onions or your mushrooms. So I will chop up my mushrooms, and I'm just going to rough chop.
And mushrooms may be small, but they're packed with nutrients that help support the immune system and energy production. They contain natural compounds that help protect cells and overall wellness support. Mushrooms bring that delicious umami flavor that makes plant-based dishes feel rich and comforting. Mushrooms are technically fungi, and some varieties can naturally produce vitamin D from sunlight, just like humans.
I love that. I didn't know that. That's a great. All right,
Yeah,
so the
he
mushrooms are
also
really
works
easy.
with mushrooms.
Adding in our mushrooms into our well pot. So if you have your green onions, go ahead and add them. I'm going to soak my noodles, which I'm going to chop up pretty fine. So if you have noodles from last week and you want to add them into your dumplings, you absolutely can. Trying to figure out what to do. So I'm just going to pour my hot water over my noodles. And I'm going to let them sit for a bit. Okay.
And glass noodles bring a fun, slippery texture that makes the dish extra satisfying and exciting to eat. They provide energy for your brain and muscles while soaking up all the delicious flavors in the pan. Their translucent appearance gives the dish a beautiful, glossy look, perfect for a cooking show moment, just like these when we break them apart. Show the middle.
Oh, almost had a disaster. All right, so I'm going to chop up a little bit of yellow onion. We also have our ginger. I do not have the green onion, which somehow I missed that. All right, can you guys see that? So I'm just going to chop up a little. You don't need much. Probably not even this whole half onion. I'm just mincing this onion down. And if you have green onion, we're slicing. Onions always make my eyes burn. But I actually did pretty good today because I didn't cut that little fuzzy part off, the part that is attached to the root or when they're growing out. So if you leave that on, it doesn't burn too bad. Alrighty. All right, how's everybody doing so far? I'm going in for my ginger. How's everyone?
Everyone's doing good so far. We got a thumbs up from Brenda. Darlene's in there mixing around. Valerie's over there in the kitchen. I believe Gail is over in the kitchen. Hey, Paula, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's see. Hello, Tanya, Renee, Phil, Paula, Patricia, Jeanette, James, and Rosemary, Gail, Emily, Denise, Darlene, Paulette, Byron, Brenda, and Miss Valerie.
All right, so I have my ginger nice and peeled, and to get that skin off, all I do is just drag my spoon. We use the spoon method. All right, and absolutely hello to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us in here today. Are we supposed to grade this? We're supposed to grade this one.
Yes.
Leek and gray or mint. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts around ginger is I really, really, really like ginger a lot. Let's see, I have like several different ones. I like ginger a lot. So I'm just going to grade this right into my bowl. So I personally would probably mint a lot of this, but I'm going to get a large grater so I can get the most out of the flavor because the microplane is going to make it really small. This is going to be a little bit bigger, but I love the taste of ginger. Some people are like, they just like the a hint of it. I like more than a hint. I like full flavored things. So I'm just grating this nub down.
Yeah, so we're gonna need about 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger.
So I probably have about a teaspoon in there now.
Mhm.
All right.
And ginger brings warmth, a zing, and serious feel-good vibes to the dish. It's famous for helping soothe digestion and calming upset stomachs. Ginger is also containing natural anti-inflammatory compounds that may support joints and muscles. And fun fact, ginger has been used in traditional wellness practices around the world for thousands of years.
Yeah, I love ginger. Ginger is one of my favorite healing, I don't know, root vegetables, I suppose. I love it to like soothe a stomach. Like if I ever have an upset stomach, ginger is absolutely my go-to. Um, Sometimes I'll just like rub it on my skin just to like get like a fresh and take it. I'll take some of the juice and just like put it, and it like really wakens up the skin. You have to be careful because if you have sensitive skin, it can be a little powerful. But just to give your skin like a nice glow, a nice pick me up. I find like especially because as I'm getting older, like those darker circles under my eyes, and I think it has to do with like being a low iron girly, which I've always been my whole life. All right. So now we have all of our things in the bowl. The only thing that you're going to see missing out of my bowl right now that you all may have is the green onion, okay? So I have cabbage, I have yellow onions, not green, carrots, mushrooms, ginger, garlic, and then I am not going to use tofu. I'm going to use my noodles. I'm going to mince some of those up and just throw them right directly into my dish. And I just let them soak for a bit. I'm just going to rough chop. It's just a good filling. All right, so just a nice rough chop. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just throw it in there. All right. So while everybody is finishing up, I went ahead and started heating up my stove, heating up my pan, and I'm going to go over to the stove. Now, it might be a little bit challenging. I'm going to try to stay over to the side so you all can actually see me. Okay. Do I have any questions so far? How's everybody doing? Everyone okay? I see some thumbs up. Brendan's thumbs up. You guys doing okay? All right. So Naya, our soy
Hmm.
sauce and our sesame oil. Where are we using this? Does this
Okay, so
go
let's
into
be
the
going
mixture,
for
please?
step two to cook the filling. Heat a medium pan over, I mean, heat a pan over medium heat. Add a little oil, which will be our avocado or olive
Olive
oil.
oil.
We're gonna saute our garlic and ginger until fragrant.
Oh, I
Okay.
added it all into the pot. That's why we need to go through the instructions before. But
Yeah,
okay.
I, I don't know. Then you're gonna add your cabbage, carrots, mushrooms, and green onions. Um, and cook that. So please go ahead and remove your noodles from everything. That's
It's all right. I'm gonna throw everything into one pot because it's one of those days, and I'm not gonna sweat the small stuff. It's fine. It's all gonna get mixed into one. So if you have not, if you kept your garlic and your ginger separate, then you're gonna saute your garlic and your ginger until fragrant, and then you're gonna add in all of your other ingredients. Okay. So right now I'm just gonna let my pot heat up. So can you go through all the steps, please?
yeah. So we're gonna add in our oil. We're gonna saute our garlic and ginger into a fragrant. Then we're adding our cabbage, carrots, mushrooms, and green onions. You're gonna cook that for 3 to 5 minutes until your cabbage and carrots are slightly softened.
Hmm.
You're gonna add in your soy sauce, sesame oil, black pepper, and remove from the heat and let cool. From there,
And
we
then
will
let it
then
cool.
start preparing our rice papers.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I skipped a step. So everything's going in the pan.
And these can be served both warm or a room temperature.
Yeah. So what I found when I made my rice paper dumplings the other day is that they're actually a little bit difficult to eat really hot. So we're just gonna saute. All right. So my pan is still getting hot. How's everybody doing? Are there any questions? Has anybody like added any additional ingredients, or maybe you don't have something? How are you adjusting your recipe? You guys are really quiet.
You know, people are in there mixing around.
Are they cooking?
Yes. And for the people who are using tofu, also you're gonna crumble up your tofu and add that in with your cabbage and carrots and stuff.
Yeah, big chunk cabbage. All right, so my pan's getting hot. I'm just sauteing it. Of course, this is gonna wilt down a bit. So if it seems like you have a lot, the cabbage will wilt. Let's see. Maybe I'll see if I can do this. Oh no, there's not a lip big enough to hold it.
Naya, what do we put in the skillet? A little oil,
Yes, so we're
the
gonna put in
ginger and the
about,
garlic.
yes, ma'am, about 1 to 2 tablespoons of oil. You're gonna saute your ginger and garlic until fragrant, and then that's when you add in your cabbage, carrots, mushrooms, and green onions.
Okay. Thank you.
And are you using any tofu?
No.
Okay, yeah, so then that's it.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, so I'm just cooking down my cabbage, carrots, mushrooms, ginger, garlic, and while I am preparing for my wraps, I'm going to get set up while that is cooking. I'm going to start getting set up for my rice paper wrap. I'm going to add my water. It'll be cooled down a bit by the time I get to it. And I'll just set that up there so you all can see it. And please let us know if you need any assistance. All right, so I hear my pot doing some cool things. Everything's cooking down. Do we have any other fun facts, Maya?
Yes, for our oils and stuff. All right. So avocado or olive oil, these healthy oils are packed with heart-loving fats that support brain and cardiovascular health. Healthy fats also help your body absorb vitamins from colorful vegetables more effectively. Olive oil is rich in antioxidants, while avocado oil contains vitamin E for skin support. Healthy fats help meals feel more satisfying, which keeps you energized and fuller longer. Let's see. Sesame oil is a flavor magician of this recipe. Just a drizzle transforms the entire dish. It contains healthy fats that support the heart and your body absorption of the nutrients from vegetables. Its rich, nutty aroma makes healthy eating feel comforting and restaurant worthy. So these rice papers should feel really fancy, like you bought them from a lovely restaurant. And fun facts, MCs have been treasured in cooking for thousands of years across many cultures.
All right, so right now my cabbage is tasting a little bland. So do we add in our soy and sesame oils now?
Yes, you can add in your soy sauce, sesame oil, and black pepper.
What is the recipe? Did we have to wait like saute for a few minutes until it gets to my
Since
my
you
cabbage
added
is
all your
translucent.
ingredients, then you can just go ahead and just add in the soy sauce, sesame oil, and black pepper.
All right. And how long did we cook after we do that?
It doesn't say. It just says remove from heat and let cool.
So I'm gonna cook for probably like another 1 to 2 minutes. We don't want to overcook the vegetables. We just want the flavors to get combined because once we fold it into the rice paper, it's gonna cook it again. So you want to taste it to make sure that it's flavored properly, okay? So you want to taste it, make sure it's flavored properly to your desired taste. If you want to add or take away anything, you want to make sure that your vegetables are softened so that the cabbage is soft, the carrots are soft, the mushrooms are going to cook pretty fast. You don't have to worry about that. And then you don't want them to be mushy, you just want them to be softened, okay? So add a little bit more soy sauce. Just make sure you're tasting and adjusting your, for taste, for your palate. All right, so I'm going to show you all what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and remove it from the heat. I'm going to add it into a separate bowl to cool down. This is difficult. I'm trying to do it so you guys can see it. Can you see that? All right, so we're going to leave this here to cool down a little bit. So while we're waiting for that to cool, I'm just going to go ahead and wash out this pot because I'm going to use the same pot to pan fry them. How's everybody doing? Do we have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do we also add the onions in with it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. What about the carrots?
Yeah.
That too?
Yes, all the carrots. Everything goes in. Onions, carrots, cabbage, mushrooms. If you're using tofu or noodles, you can add that in. Everything that you are adding into your dumpling goes in. You can fry the bowl, but in actuality, you're supposed to saute your garlic and ginger first. So I'm just going to taste it again to make sure. Make sure it tastes good. I can do like little taste tests. It's yummy. So you want the filling to be flavorful. Okay. All right, so next we're going to go on to our rice paper dumplings and filling the dumplings. I want to make sure that I'm not moving too fast, though. Is everybody okay? Or are you guys still pan frying?
I'm still pan frying, but you can keep going.
Okay. All right, so now traditionally how I would make a dumpling, because sometimes because the paper is soft and the dumpling filling is also wet, and we're softening up the rice paper by, wetting it. I would double up. So I've been taught to double wrap, but since this recipe is not calling for that, we're gonna try one wrap and see how it goes. All right, so I'm just gonna submerge my rice paper almost the same way that we did it for, pretty much the same way that we did it for the spring rolls, okay? You want to submerge it for about 8 to 10 seconds. And then we're going to put it on a slightly wet surface. All right, and then we're going to add our dumpling filling right here in the middle. And then how I like to do is I'll take it, fold it over one, take the other side, fold it over this way. And then we're going to fold over this way and kind of turn it into like a little square, okay? And then we'll set it off to the side. Now, we don't want to let them sit too long because what happens, especially not on a cutting board, what I may do is I'll put it on a plate. Because if you let them sit too long, they'll stick. So don't let them sit too long on your cutting board. So I just want you to see my dumplings. So I'm going to do it with one paper and see how that works out. And if it falls apart, then I'm going to use two. Now, the thing about using two rice paper dumplings is I find that it makes the dumpling a little chewy. when you bite into it. So that part I don't particularly like, but you know, it may be necessary so they don't fall apart. All right, so we're just going in. And we're just filling our dumpling right here in the middle. And then we're folding. So over, over, and then fold in this way. Fold the other side. And then you want to flip it over and then sit it down on the side that's folded so it stays together, okay? So I'm gonna do about 4 of them, and then I'm gonna fry them and see if they actually hold up without the second wrapper. Because I don't know, for those of you all who were here, we made these a few years back, and we double wrapped them. I don't know if you guys remember that. Valerie, you may remember. Yeah, we double wrapped them. This recipe does not call for that, so I'm very curious to see how it's going to turn out. I would actually prefer the single wrap because I'm not particularly fond of the way, like the texture of the double wrap, because it makes it really, really chewy. All right, so I'm just folding over, and then I just fold this way, okay? Carefully fold. If you need to push in the dumpling filling a little bit, where it's gonna make a nice little, like almost like a little rectangle, okay? They don't have to be perfect. And so while I'm doing this, I'm heating up my pan. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil, probably about 1.5 teaspoons, and get that pan nice and coated with oil, okay? Because you don't want them to stick. So I'm gonna make one more, and then I'm gonna test because I want to make sure that these things are not gonna fall apart on me. I hear Michael Jackson in the background. How many of y'all, have you guys been to see the Michael Jackson movie? I'm very curious. Alrighty.
Yes,
Okay.
see. And then Valerie says, I think the best advice you ever gave was that the rice paper softens as you work with it. 5 seconds only works in the water.
Yeah, quickly in the water. Okay. Now I'm going to come over and I'm going to place my rice paper dumpling, and I'm going to place them the side down is going to be the side that's folded over, okay? Because we want that to secure and close and get crisp first. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my pan. And you'll notice, like, when you touch them, they're even softer than when you lay them down. So I'm just going to, I like to put them, like, around the outer perimeters. And I'll show you how I've stationed the dumplings. I'm going to find myself another cooktop so I can cook on the counter. I just haven't been able to find one where I'm at now. All right. And so I'm going to let those do their thing. And I'm hoping that it works out because I really don't want to have to double wrap this. I actually don't like double wrapping. All right. So while those are frying, I'm just going to make some more. And I would say, like, I don't know, I ate like 3 or 4 of them and I was like full. 3 or 4 was like a pretty good meal. Okay, so I'm adding my filling, folding, folding. And this one is a little hard, so when it's a little hard, I just kind of crunch in the sides. I'm just going to lay that there. So this is definitely a labor of love. Got to. All right, I'm going to check on my dumpling. And they don't burn easy, so you don't have to be worried about them burning quickly. As long as your heat is not up too high. It's going to take a little while for them to brown. You want to get them a nice golden brown. The idea is to get them like nice and crispy around all the sides.
Give it a nice, lovely crunch.
Yeah. Like when you drag your knife across it, it should sound like nice and hard, okay? All right, so I'm just going to make another set of 4. So far, so good, though. I mean, it seems to be holding up pretty well with the one wrapper. I'm going to spatula. Get it on. I'm going to flip it over. And be careful because if they touch, they may stick. They're pretty sticky. They'll stick to the other one. All right, so I just want you to see. I flipped them so what they look like on the other side. So I'm just going to carefully kind of pan fry. So to make sure they're nice and coated with oil while I'm getting the rest of my dumplings together. Well, this one I let sit in the water a little bit too long. So this one is probably going to be a bit of a problem for me because this is what happens when you let the rice paper sit too long. It's not as easy to work with. So that's why you have to find the perfect balance of like how long does the rice paper sit in the water. Because if it sits too long, then it gets really mushy. A little bit easier to work with, but too wet. All right, so now I'm just going to set it over here. How are you guys doing? Are you guys at your pan frying part yet? So I probably have enough filling to make about, let's see, if I did 8, I could probably make another, it's probably like about 15 dumplings. And that's just with like a quarter of a cabbage. Okay, so if we're thinking about it in context of like how much cabbage does it take, a couple of carrots, about a cup of mushrooms, maybe even like a little bit, like a less of a full cup of mushrooms, a little bit of noodles, some onion, garlic, ginger. Well, maybe not. Maybe I have enough to make about 12. I'm not going to make all 12, though. You can also take the same filling and make egg rolls. So that would just be a different type of paper. So this is a very versatile recipe in regards to the filling. Ooh, this is so pretty. Okay, I think I will say I like the one wrapper the best. Because look at how pretty they are.
Ooh, yes.
I know,
I'm
aren't they
so
gorgeous?
excited.
They're gorgeous. They're gorgeous. All right, so I'm just going to fry on the opposite side again, get them a little bit more brown. Yeah, they're beautiful. I'm very proud. So I will say the one paper is working out well. So I'm not double wrapping my dumplings. All right, so I'm just gonna get these out of here. And so as you see, they just need a couple of minutes on each side. We're just going in for the browning and to get them nice and crispy, okay? So now I'm gonna take my remaining dumplings and add them to my pan. Remember, we're doing the folded side down. Okay. Now, here's the crispy test. Can you hear that?
Oh no, we can't hear it.
Can you hear it?
Oh, hold on, let me turn off the music. No, I think maybe because you're connected to your
You
headphones.
can't hear it? Well, it's crispy, trust me. Turn this over on this side. I'm going to cut this open. You see, it's really pretty. Look at that, it's gorgeous. Oh, it's so cute. I love them. All right, I'm just going to finish up the rest of my dumplings. I'll save this for later. And if you don't want to wrap it all, you have more filling. Of course, this filling can be stored in your refrigerator up to 3 days. It can also be frozen. So if you want to freeze it and break it out later, you can freeze it probably for a couple of months, okay? And the more that you make these things, the easier it gets because you start to understand how to handle the rice paper. Your hands will get familiar. You'll start to understand what it starts to feel like, when it's workable and when it's not. We did not have a sauce in the recipe, but you can make yourself a nice little dipping sauce with, I would say like a tablespoon or two of rice wine vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, some garlic, ginger, a little bit of sesame oil, some green onions, and some sesame seeds. And if you want a little bit of sweetness, you can add honey. I'm gonna take a bite, but they're gonna stay hot for a long time, so that's why I cut it open because they're very hot. Let's see. Mm, yeah, I like this much better than the double wrap. The double wrap is too chewy for me. This is perfect. Oh my gosh, it's so yummy. Really good. My suggestion is add as much garlic as your heart desires. I feel like I could have used more garlic and more ginger, but I also threw my garlic in and I didn't saute in the beginning, so it's not going to be a super strong garlicky flavor. But these are really yum. How many people have already started eating? Have you tried your dumpling yet? It's going to be really hot. So don't burn yourself. Mm, super yum. And I definitely want to give a big shout out to those of you all who are here, who are still showing up. Once again, we do have our farmers market next week, May 13th. There will be ingredients for the recipe that are also being given out at the farmer's market. Also, if you or yourself have been denied a claim for Medicare Advantage, please reach out to us. We have a really cool study that we're collaborating with UC Berkeley to see how we could develop tools to advocate to get your claims approved. So if you've been denied in the past 12 months, please reach out to us. If you know anybody that's been denied for a Medicare Advantage claim, please make sure that you reach out to us. So good. So good. Anybody eating? Because I'd love to hear how your dumplings came out. Brenda, how are you doing? Are your dumplings ready?
Might be still frying.
I just put mine in the skillet.
You just
A
put
little
yours in
late.
the skillet?
Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. You're not late. I'm
But
sorry,
I
I'm
tasted it.
hungry.
It tastes pretty good.
It's so yum.
I wish I had some shrimp.
Yeah, shrimp and thy would be amazing. So that's the other thing. These are vegetable dumplings. You guys can put into them whatever you want. If you had chicken, you wanted to add chicken, you can do that. Shrimp. You know, of course, we're a plant-based cooking class, so we're always just giving out the plant-based version. But if you want to do some variation and get creative, you can absolutely do that, and you just mince up whatever protein that you're going to use, okay?
Okay.
And mix it in there with your vegetable. Ooh, I can eat 1,000 of these. Now I'll save you some. All right. So I think we're about done now. Does anybody else have any questions about your dumplings? Has anybody finished and you're trying your dumplings and you're already eating? They need a sauce. All right. And so something that maybe seemed like it was like complicated to make, it's actually not complicated at all. Um, just a lot of love, a little bit of preparation, but once again, like once you get this down pat, and I'm really glad that we tried this recipe again. This is the first time I've made it with a single wrapper, so that's really good. The other thing that I think is really important is that like when we make things like spring rolls and you buy this stuff, you're like, okay, well I bought this, I ate spring rolls for a couple of days, but okay, I'm kind of over the spring rolls, but what am I going to do with the rest of these ingredients? Here's another variation of how you can use those ingredients to make a completely different dish that has a completely different vibe. Because let me tell you something, what I do love is something fried, okay? I love a good fried anything. Yeah. And they're nice and crunchy. You cannot hear this, but if I had a good microphone, that the sound of that crunch is absolutely lovely. All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you all so much for joining us. Thank you for being here once again. Next week is our farmers market, May 13th. Okay, so I hope to see you all there. And we are going to be giving out the ingredients for the recipe. I don't know what that recipe is going to be, but it'll be something that is very vibrant and spring-like because I love to eat in the season. And once again, if you know anybody that has been denied for a Medicare Advantage claim over the past year, please send them our way because we'd love to get them in a focus group so we can talk about how we can create tools in collaboration with UC Berkeley to advocate for your Medicare Advantage claims. You will receive a gift card and you will be fed per usual because you know when you come to our office, we're going to feed you real good, okay? All right, you guys. Any other questions or comments before we get out of here? Would anybody like to show off their dumplings? Because this is something to show off. If you made dumplings, definitely something to show off. Also, this would taste even better with some sauce. So the sauce was not included on the recipe, but once again, if you want to make a nice little dipping sauce, you have rice wine vinegar, soy sauce, maybe a little sriracha. If you have sriracha, you like a little bit of heat, a little honey, some sesame seeds. Get creative, okay? Make yourself a sauce. It's going to elevate the dish tremendously. Darlene, you're eating. How's your food? How did it come out? Is it good? Awesome. Brenda, you still frying? Valerie, how'd you do?
Yeah, still frying.
Valerie, did you do the single wrap method or the double wrap method? So yeah, I mean, it's better. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It actually came out pretty good. I like it. So, all right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we look so forward to seeing you next week. Okay, have